is the point of Happy Death Day: to live your humanity to its fullest opportunity until you are actually ready to move forward. That sounds like a weirdly deep answer for what is basically a slasher popcorn flick. Welcome to Copper Shock, where we are horror obsessed. My name is Tasha Wheelhouse, and today I am excited to talk to you about Happy Death Day from 2017. I did avoid this film for a number of years only because I thought the name sounded dumb. The cover of the birthday cake with the blood spurting out of it with the stabby knife and the reflection of the weird baby face really threw me off, and so I decided not to watch it. And then I finally saw it and realized, oh, this is one of my favorite movies. There is a main character girl who on her birthday she wakes up and is murdered by the end of the day. However, she wakes up again immediately after being murdered on her birthday, and she lives her same birthday over and over and over and over again, always being killed in some new imaginative way by a mystery person, and it becomes a threadline of a whodunit with the Groundhog Day paradox premise. I love that it's even pretty self-aware that in the very ending scene, they do make a joke about, well, you've seen Groundhog Day, right? So what's Groundhog Day? Groundhog Day is a film from 1993 starring Bill Murray, where a reporter is given an assignment to Punxsutawney to do the Groundhog Day ceremony. This is something that he hates doing. He hates being in small towns. He's very self-centered. He's an extremely unlikable character, but he wakes up on Groundhog Day over and over and over again to a point where he has probably lived 1,000 years in the same exact day. And over that course of time, that character, who is not likely to change for anyone because he is that self-centered, has lived long enough to understand his humanity and make the correct choice, being genuinely kind and doing things for other people. And what payoff that comes for him, because there is no tomorrow and all he has is that one day. There's a YouTube video that I love watching all the time from Lessons from the Screenplay. I'll put a link in the description below for you to check it out, where they do break down this premise of the Groundhog Day paradox. In talking about the premise of Happy Death Day in its plotline, you're introduced to Tree. Tree is a girl that is really mean. She's not nice to the people around her. She makes fun of the guy who took her out on a date last week because he took her to Subway, and I guess that's like not cool. Who gets mad at Subway? Especially if you're in college. She doesn't say hello to one of her sorority sisters. She just kind of gives her an eyebrow and walks straight past. She talks about her sorority sisters behind their back. She ignores calls from her dad on her birthday. Like, this is not a person that I personally want to be associated with. Her attitude is the kind of character that I would want to see get killed in the first act of a horror film, because I'm just like, I can't watch this girl for the next 45 minutes. She's mean to everybody, and I think she's going to be a liability down the road. But the incredible part about this movie is as you get to live with Tree in all of her flaws, you get to peel that back scene over scene of why she's that way. Tree goes through a change of self as she's doing this investigation of all the people that she's wronged, cross off the list of potential suspects. But in that investigation, there are some people in which she gets to understand their humanity better, such as the guy who she made fun of for taking her to Subway. She figures out that actually he was trying to date Tree in order to fit in with everybody else, because apparently he hadn't really come out yet. And once Tree understood that about him, she understood, oh, we could have just been friends this whole time, and she immediately feels empathy for the guy. She's reminded of her mother who passed from illness because her and her mother had shared a birthday, and it was always like a special event for the two of them. And because mom is gone, she's actively pushed her dad away. By the end of it, she is emotionally mature enough to approach her dad to say, I am so sorry for the hurt that I have caused you. I am experiencing this amount of hurt for myself, and she wants to make good before trying to move into the next day. She gets to see these different sides of the good nature of the sidekick guy who is with her on each of these days, and his different reactions, and how he never abandons her when she asks for help, and she recognizes that goodness about him and comes to completely love him for it. Because you are by her side and you see her develop as a person, you get to emotionally attach to her more and more over the course of the film, and it's really brilliantly told as a story metric. Copper Shock rating system for Happy Death Day. The thriller factor, I am going to give it a 9 out of 10. As you see this girl tortured in the first couple of days, it's funny because I don't like this person. And so to see her suffer is like, haha, because you've been mean to everybody. Karma. I like the threads that continued for the whodunit across the entirety of this movie. And I still do. I like to watch it like just doing dishes or something. I actually used to take a nap to Psycho. The violins went off at like a very specific time, so if I wanted like a 45-minute nap, I would turn on Psycho and just lay down, and it was like an alarm. Anyway, the gore rating, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Yes, there's stabbings and car explosions and drownings. She gets killed in a lot of different ways, and most of it is done in a fun, tongue-in-cheek sort of way. Yes, violent actions, but it's not gratuitous in its gore, which it honestly is about the level that I prefer it when I watch a horror film anyway. The storytelling, I am gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I did knock off a little point, only because I recognize there are potential holes about this film that I'm not seeing or I'm choosing not to see. The production value, I gave this an 8 out of 10. It looks like a college campus. I felt like the shots were evenly shot. I did give it an 8 only because I don't like the baby mascot. Yeah, it's creepy, but it's done in a way of like, who would ever put money behind that? What college kid would be like, yeah, I'm with Team Baby? Not me. Like, you know, give me a good like lion, a panther, shoot, even like the miners with a big old shovel or something, big muscly arms, like something like that. But a baby? The most vulnerable kind of thing you could rally behind? I don't know. I'll have to research this again, but I think the reason that the baby mascot was chosen for the production was because the guy who was in charge of creating the mask, he was in the middle of having his first child, and that was the only thing on his brain that just scared him out of his mind of having a brand new baby that he has to take care of that will depend on him for life. He just like rolled with it and said, cool, the mascot's a baby, because that was what was terrifying for him. The special effects and makeup, you know, the stabbings and the whatever else looked well done as far as action shots. So it's an 8 out of 10. I think I only noticed the CGI bloodiness of it all for one particular shot at the very, very end. If I had to think about the idea of living forever in a single day, then my motivations for what I choose for myself completely change. I mean, if I had to wake up today on a Thursday again and again and again, where I get to wake up next to my wonderful, loving husband, my sweet puppy that I'm going to get to see forever, what would I do? Would I call out of work? Would I immediately go out and make another YouTube video? Would I say, hey, let's go drain the bank account and go to Disneyland? What were choices that I would make to live my life to its fullest and feel fulfilled in what it is that I do? And that is the point of Happy Death Day. What do you do to feel fulfilled? Because there is no tomorrow. It's a cup half full to me. Anybody, if really given the opportunity to try over and over and over again, yeah, you'd probably do some silly stuff where you'd walk down the street naked one day just for fun to see people's reaction because they're not going to remember it, but that would get boring pretty fast. And if you had to live the same day for 1,000 years, what would you do? And how would that feel? That is the point of Happy Death Day to me. How are you going to live your life to the fullest today? For me, it is hitting record on a YouTube video. It is me spending the time to put together the edits, and even hitting publish some days could feel terrifying, but I feel so fulfilled when I share my thoughts with you. And thank you for being willing to listen and to watch these videos. Go live today to the best ability that you can. Make the good choice, even if it's just one, and live like you were dying. So tell me in the comments below, what would you do if you lived the same day over and over again? What would be something fun? How would you live that day? I love seeing your comments. They light up my mornings when I go in there. What are you guys talking about? What's the 411? Oh, I shouldn't say that. That makes me sound so old. Dude, I am old. I'm the one that's just like Groundhog Day. I remember watching that movie on VHS. Thank you again for joining me for this video. I am happy to have you here. I will see you soon. Bye.